Welcome to Mish Guitar. I'm Dan. Today we're going to dive a little deeper on the Travis picking technique. I'll run through the basics of it really quickly, but if you haven't seen my first video on this topic, please click here. Hopefully it should pop up in this corner. Here's the most basic pattern of Travis picking. Now it should sound familiar because this is exactly the same intro as Dust in the Wind, where we're going to have our thumb on the A string, our middle finger is going to be on the B string, and we're going to start by plucking those two together. The duration of that note is going to be a quarter note. We have 1. The rest of the notes in the pattern are going to be 6/8 notes. So we're going to have 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. So as I mentioned, our first is the pluck with our thumb and our middle finger on the A and the B string. The next two notes are going to be our thumb and our index finger on D and the G string. Then we're going to come back out to the A and the B string with our thumb and middle finger again. Thumb, index on the D and the G string, and that's the end of the pattern. One, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. Now what we're going to do today is we're going to expand on the bass note in this pattern by moving our finger between the C and the G. We're going to do the same thing with the high note by incorporating our ring finger on the high E string, something like this. Then we're going to combine those two into one pattern that goes like this. Once we have that pattern down, we can move it to a chord progression. Let's jump into the first pattern, alternating your thumb between the C and the G to have a moving bass note. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. Now what we should notice is that the G is landing on the 3 in our counting. So we have the 1, which is a quarter note, 1. And again, this rhythmically won't change. No matter what we are doing with our fingers for this pattern, the rhythm is always going to be a quarter note followed by 6/8 notes. Let's count it again slowly so that we can work it out one beat at a time. The first part should be familiar. It's the pattern we already know. 1, 2, and. So now the next beat is going to be with the G on the 3. We're going to move our finger from the 3rd fret of the A string to the 3rd fret of the low E string. It's going to alternate. We're going to play that with our thumb. So we have 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. Moving on to the next part of it is going to introduce the high E string. But first we're going to isolate adding the high E string. And the high E is going to be actually on the and of the 3. So we have 1, 2, and 3, and is where that high E is going to ring. So we have 1, 2, and 3, and. So let's play the pattern out. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. Let's try combining the two. We know that when we go to the low G note, that's on the 3, and we know that the high E is on the and. So we should be able to work it out by knowing as soon as we hit the low G, the next note's going to be that high E with our ring finger. So let's try it very slowly. We have 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. The 4 and are still going to be the same as they have been all along, hitting the D and G strings with our thumb and index finger. So let's break it down slowly again. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. So if you can get that pattern down, obviously you want to start very slowly and build it up. It is best to practice this to a metronome so you can keep all the notes even and it helps you count them out loud like I did. It doesn't matter how slowly you have to play it. It's important to play all of the notes evenly. Once you have that pattern down, we can try moving it around to different chords while maintaining the exact finger picking pattern. So let's try going from a C chord to a G7 to an A minor 7 and then returning. I do recommend practicing using your ring finger to alternate between the C and the bass note on G. However, if you want to play it in a more fluid, continuous way, you can play the C chord with the G and the bass. And then we can move to our other chords. So let's get into that C shape. We're still going to do the same picking pattern we discussed, and we're going to move from C with the G and the bass to a G7 to an A minor 7 back to the C. Let's try it. I hope you found this lesson helpful. Please like this video, hit subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. Thank you again, and keep practicing.